So here's what's gonna happen. I want to learn how to do a switch heel flip. I suck at switch heel flips. Berkeley's awesome at them, and he knows the mechanics of how they work, and we have a slow motion camera to break down exactly what's happening. I'm gonna try to learn to switch heel flip today. Berkeley's gonna help me, and we're gonna break it down in slow motion and show you guys the process. All right, guys, so as you can tell, Berkeley Anderson is ridiculously good at switch heel flips.
Thank you, Darren.
You just watched a bunch of that stuff in slow motion. Is there anything you noticed that was like different than what you thought it might look like?
Yeah, you know, I've been doing that trick for like 15 plus years, so it's just become a muscle memory. So I think of it as like my whole foot coming off the tail when I go for the switch heel, and seeing it slow down that much, it's kind of crazy how much like my ankle is turned. So it's just the edge of my heel that's just scraping along, and it's like, how do you get that much pickup from that little contact with the board?
Yeah, isn't it kind of weird how it actually looks is like different than how you imagine it in your head sometimes?
Yeah, or even how it looks in fast motion. Like you don't quite catch that. Let's do it.
Let's do it. And this, by the way, is Nigel Barrows. He is a super talented filmmaker, a good friend of mine. We've been filming for like forever now. Yeah. He has a YouTube channel where he talks all about how to film on a budget. Some really, really cool indie filmmaking stuff. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, my man?
Yeah, so my name is Nigel, and like Darren said, I have a channel that's all focused on budget filmmaking, and I just help try to bridge the gap between like budget gear and professional video.
It is worth giving a look, guys. It's some really cool stuff, and especially if you are interested at all in filming skateboarding, a lot of direct crossover for skate filmmaking. All right, so I want to get this switch heel flip, but I need to warm up a little bit first. So I'm gonna film a little session of some other tricks that I know that I can do, and we'll work my way into trying the switch heel flip after my knees are hating me just a little bit less. Oh my God, my knees. Never get old, Berkeley. Don't get overweight, that's the big one. Yep. All right, switch heels. What the? Did I almost just land that? All right, time to get the phantom out and start trying to learn this. All right, so I just watched that back in the slow motion, and what I've realized is that as I'm trying to flick the front of the board, I'm literally just lifting my foot up. It's not actually flicking the board much, it's just kind of barely love tapping it. So I need to worry more about trying to grip the board and flick off the front so that it levels out and so that it flips with a little bit more definition and less of just kind of like a roll, you know? I'm gonna try this again. So that one I didn't really pop that well, and I leveled it out too early. So instead of leveling it out, not leveling it out at all, I kind of leveled it out way too soon. So it didn't pop, because there's an equilibrium. You have to pop it, and you have to wait for just the right kind of movement as it's going up to be able to flick it. You notice my body was way above my board. So like, there's a lot of energy there, and the board should be able to snap up to me, but like just the timing of when I popped it versus when I flicked it was the biggest issue there. So I'm gonna try and correct for that and hopefully get a little bit of a smoother flip and catch. So it's still kind of doing what I did on that first attempt, where I'm just lifting my foot. Like I'm doing a little bit of a flick, but I'm not really kind of like applying that much energy into my left foot. And I think part of it is I'm just not used to using that left foot with so much like finesse. I'm used to using this as my power foot. So like when I'm trying to jump and do an ollie, based trick, I'm normally goofy footed. So my muscle memory is just very, it's non-precise with my left foot. So I am going to try and correct for this a little bit. Hopefully I can try to get just a little bit more loose and a little more fast-footed with my left foot. Because I think I can do this. Like I feel like I'm like right there. And I haven't landed this in what, it was like 10 years? It's been a decade since the last time I landed a switch heel. I've never landed one well. Let's keep going at this.
Keep the front foot real pocketed.
Yeah.
They'll like the pop foot.
Oh, trigger. Save that. I landed a switch heel. That was way faster than I expected. Yeah. Oh my God, I just landed it. That was not the cleanest ever, but it was a land and it was a roll away. There was no toe touch. Oh, that felt really good. So Berkeley gave me some advice. He said to pocket my front foot. So what I did is I actually moved my front foot forward just a little bit so that when I popped, it was more naturally gonna grip.
Yeah, what it does is it gives you a little bit of counterbalance.
Yeah.
So when you pop here, it kind of wants to lean up towards you like this, and that gives you something to flick against to get that better flick.
You see, that makes a lot of sense.
So even though the flick was your problem, the reason why you weren't getting to a good flick is because it was just staying too flat.
So there's a lot of tricks in skateboarding that do just what you're talking about. Like actually a tray flip is one of them, right?
Yeah.
Where if you like have your foot pocketed, where people talk about the scoop, the whole point of the scoop isn't just to get like a lot of like shove it momentum. Yeah. It's to get the board flipping like this so that it grips your front foot better.
Into you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that actually makes a lot of sense. Like I really appreciate your advice on that. Like the master here made it much easier to learn. He was telling me a little bit about how to correct each time. And that worked out really well. Dude, I landed one.
It only took you like 5 tries.
Oh man, so now I feel like I need to try and clean it up since it only took me a few tries. I'm gonna try to clean it up a little bit. If I don't get it, then I don't get it, but I'm excited.